Go. Hey there, hon. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm great.
So it's been 2 years. I haven't seen you. So
Yes, 2 years.
so excited. Thank you for slipping in those DMs and saying hi to me.
I know I felt like I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna think I'm so weird for remembering her. But when people are impactful, you remember. Like your face was like held on to the memory of your face. Like, no,
Thank
I'm gonna find her.
you. Well, I felt you as soon as I met you, and we'll tell that story how I met you. I just felt close to you too. So yeah, awesome.
It was great.
So do you want to start with telling your pregnancy story in the time of COVID and Canada and all that?
Sure. Okay. So my pregnancy story, when I tell people all the time, they're like, so, I just moved to New York like pretty recently, like at the time of my pregnancy. I would say I was here for about 2.5 years, like consecutively, because I was like using Canada as a crutch because I grew up in Canada. I was using Canada as a crutch every time I felt uncomfortable here. I would just go back home for a few months, but like solidly making it one full year was like 2 years before I was pregnant. I met my boyfriend at the time. COVID happens. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're like stuck together because I was living with my aunt and she was just like, can't be going back and forth, honey. I'm not getting sick. So either you're there or you're here. So I would spend like 2 weeks there, take a test, come back home, spend so then pregnancy. Um I actually find out when I thought I had a hernia because I used to work a lot, and this is when, like, the pandemic was happening, but, like, you still had to go to work. Nobody got laid off yet. Um, I was working at Sephora, so I'm, like, building stuff and everything, so I thought I got a hernia from lifting things, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Does a hernia, like, give you a bump in your stomach?" Because I wasn't showing. I
Yeah.
only could see my bump if I laid flat on my back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd have to, like, lay flat on my back and, like, everything falls back, and I'm like, "God, there's a bump there." I'm thinking, like, I have something's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and for a while and it's so funny, I was like, this is probably TMI, but I couldn't poop. But I
Uh-huh.
had pressure to poop, like, I'm always
Yeah.
trying to poop, but I can't figure out why I always feel like I have to poop, but I don't need to poop.
Mm-hmm.
Um And I used to go on these walks and like I was losing weight. I was having a great time thinking, whatever, hernia is going to go away. I'm fine. But the hernia kept growing. So I decided. And then my cousin goes, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I'm like, pregnant? Me? Never. I have PCOS. They told me it's like slim to none. Like I'm not even doing anything to get pregnant. Like I'm not actively managing my hormones properly, like as I probably should have. I'm like, I'm on birth control. Like, what are you talking about? I have to be on birth control. These are my 3 months on because I was 3 months on, 3 months off just to regulate my period. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, have you gotten a period? I'm like, me not having a period is regular. What do you like? You guys are crazy. Anyways, she convinces me to take a test, and that test was positive. Definitely positive. And I didn't believe it until I went to the doctor and they take a test. They take a blood test and then they look at me and they bring me into an exam room and they're like, let's feel your stomach. And I'm like, well, my test didn't come back. I'm like, it's the hernia. I knew it. I knew it. I waited too long. They start feeling around my stomach. The nurse grabs another nurse. That nurse grabs a doctor. The doctor feels around. Then that my test results come back and they look at me. They're like, we're gonna get an ultrasound machine. And I'm like completely lost, just laying on the table, completely lost. They bring out the ultrasound machine and they were like, you're pregnant. And
Yeah. Like you're really pregnant.
I was like, what are you talking about? they turned the screen around. I'm expecting to see the
Right.
little, like,
A
circle,
blur, uh-huh.
a little ball,
A
like,
full
privately
baby,
attached.
right.
It was head, shoulders, knees,
Yep,
and toes,
yep, yep.
fingers, nose, everything
Mhm.
was there, and they were like, "You're 21 weeks."
Wow.
I was like, what do you mean by 21 weeks, and why is the baby so big?" They're like, "Yeah, like, we're at the point where we could tell you the gender." I was like, I was at a loss for words. Immediately started to cry, not because I was, like, sad or
Yeah,
anything. I think I was just overwhelmed, and it's just
wow.
not something I expected.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was straight like, "Yeah, you're pregnant, and there's your baby, and, you have no choice but to have it." And I'm like, "Okay, great, thanks." So I had to funny enough, one of my cousins, she just had a baby, and this was, like, she had a baby a couple months before me. Like, our babies are, like, maybe 6 months apart.
Mhm.
Yeah, about 6 months apart, actually, because he's born in July, my son's born in January. And he was getting a checkup, and his doctor just happened to be across from the hospital that I was going to get a checkup at.
Right.
So she, like, came with me, and she's just like, "Call me when you're done, like, I should be done my appointment." I called her, I came outside, and I was like, "Girl, I'm pregnant." She's like, "Yeah, you said you were pregnant, but, like, how far are you? Like, are you okay?" Like, I'm like, "I'm at 21 weeks." She's like, "You're 4 months pregnant?" Like, instantly, like, 4 months? And I'm like, "How am I gonna tell my mom?"
Mhm.
All I could worry about is telling my mom. But I told my mom, and she was just like, "Okay, okay." That's all she said. My
Hey.
dad had the funniest reaction, because my dad, every time I call my dad, because I
Mhm,
speak to my parents every day. Every
mhm.
time I call my dad, I go, "Hey, dad." He goes, "What's up?" And I say, "Guess what?" He always says, "You're pregnant." Every time.
Right, right.
This time, every time I'm like, "Dad, really? No." This time it was like, "Yeah." And
Yeah,
he was like, "You're kidding." And I was like, "No way." He hangs up the phone,
right.
hangs up. And I'm like, I call him back, and he was like, "Are you joking right now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not joking. I'm so serious." And he was just like, "Oh, wow. Okay. How do you feel?" It was just
Right,
very
right, right.
awkward. Like,
Speechless.
let me tell you, my dad has never asked me if I'm pregnant
Right.
again.
Like, that's enough of that.
He's never asked that again. And then, yeah, fast forward, I had a great pregnancy. As you can see, I didn't tell till 5 months
Mhm,
later. It
mhm.
continued to be great. No, no morning sickness, no crazy
Nice.
cravings. My
Mhm,
cravings were pineapple and water, so that's all I ate.
mhm.
And I worked up until, like, the till we got shut down. Like, I worked. I was out and about.
Mhm,
Um, I was traveling back and forth because I didn't have insurance here in America. I was traveling to Canada to get checkups in the middle of a pandemic.
mm.
Yeah, masked up. Everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, but I went there because the free healthcare until I got, like, insurance, and everything was good, and I came over here and then situated my life over here, like, insurance wise and apartment wise and everything. But yeah, back
Wow,
and forth.
wow. So you only had a little bit of time, and then how did you find out about doulas, and how did you find the doula program?
My OBGYN was amazing as
Mhm,
well. She's the one that suggested it to me. She's
okay.
the one that presented the opportunity.
Mhm,
She said, "Hey, I don't know if you know what your insurance covers, but we do have a program, like a doula program." And I already knew that I wanted a doula way
mhm.
before I could even, like, as soon as I knew what it was, like, way before I was pregnant, way
Okay.
before I thought about, I knew about it because my best friend, she's very, like, her goal is to birth at home.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
She's incense.
All that, the
She's
woo-woo.
crystal, so she knows that stuff.
Right, right.
Um, so I knew about what a doula was, and she always, when I found out I was pregnant, she asked me like, "Yeah, I think you should get a doula, and I think you should open your mind to having a doula." And then it was presented to me by my OB. She was amazing, Dr. Papas. I'll never forget her either. She was
Who'd you
great.
have?
Dr. Papas. It's
Oh,
really long, but
okay.
she's just like,
All right.
Call me Dr. Papas. It's
Uh-huh.
too long to remember." And she said, "This is a really great program." And she gave me like the paperwork with the phone
Yeah.
number and
Mhm.
everything. And then I called and I got Tia. I didn't even get you
Uh-huh.
yet. So yeah, that's how I found out. And then it started from there.
So let's tell the story of your birth and how the two of us met. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was having weekly meetings with Tia. This was all via Zoom because this is
Mhm.
all
Right.
through the pandemic. It's just getting worse and worse. The
Mhm.
more pregnant I get, the worse the pandemic's
Uh-huh.
getting.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I was having weekly Zoom meetings with Tia. You'd be surprised, I've never met Tia in person.
Me and her are really close friends. I adore her. She's great.
Yeah, she was great. She was great. I was
She's
having a
great.
great time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I followed everything. She's like, you
Uh-huh.
suggest this, and I'm like, we're doing this.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
I just completely like listened to her
Mhm.
until the time of my birth. So I was gonna get induced because in the last month of pregnancy, instead of growing every time my
Yeah.
visit, he stopped growing. He fell off
Mhm.
his growth chart. And they were like, "Just to play it safe, we want to induce you on this
Mhm.
day." And it was like the following week. And I was
Mm.
like, "Okay. I mean, sure." I personally, like, looking back, I probably wouldn't have done that, but whatever. Well,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
happened. It's my first time. And I tell Tia, she says, "Great." Um, I get induced, and I'm in constant contact with Tia, talking to her, telling her. She so happens another one of her um, moms
Science, yeah.
go into labor the same time as me, but
Uh-huh.
not exactly the same time, just before me. So
Yeah.
she was still hoping that she would finish that birth and come through, but that birth took longer than
Yeah.
you know expected. And I was telling her, "Hey, like, I think I was at the point where my water broke. Like, hey, this is happening."
Mhm.
And she's like, "I can't make it." And I was like, what do you mean you can't make it?"
Oh.
And she was just like, "But she already had like you in, I
Yep.
guess she already contacted you." And
Yep.
she's like, I can't make it, but a great friend of mine, Maisha, she'll come. She'll this, that, and third. She's great. I promise she's great. Just trust me." Um, because I definitely can't make it. We're
Mhm.
making headway over here. And I was just like, first I was like livid, but it's fine. I was like, whatever, I can't control what I'm going through. So I was just like, it's fine. And then that's how we meet. We get put into a group chat and short introduction. And you're like, let me know. And then I let you know. You're like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And
Yep.
then you were there. And you came in, and immediately it didn't feel like, who is this? Who is this lady? You came in, and it just felt like a cousin came in, and
Mhm.
I was just like, oh, she's like me. She has a bonnet on. Oh my god. That makes, I don't know if anybody that makes a difference for everybody, but for me as a black woman, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it
I
does.
I knew that I could be comfortable. If you're comfortable in your
Yeah.
bonnet around me, I
Yep.
can be
Uh,
completely comfortable with you.
uh-huh.
And just from there, it was just, you definitely jumped in, and I was like, yeah, I'm great. Don't worry. I feel like I felt like I was in great hands. Like I was telling myself, "You're fine. You're fine. You're fine."
You did so great. You
Thanks.
just came in, just put hands on you, like, she needs hands. She needs hands on.
Yeah.
Sometimes moms don't want hands on, which is totally cool, and sometimes they do, and I just felt like I needed to put my hands on you, so I did.
I definitely needed it. I needed the comfort. It was like this
Mhm.
pain, and I handle pain very well, so it's just like,
Yeah.
"Ugh." And you were like, "It's okay to, like, feel this," and I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday, and you had the essential oils ready for me. You're like, "Do you like this one? Do you like that one?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Yes, I like that one. That one was good." Like in the middle, it
Yeah,
immediately calmed me down. Like, yeah, and then you just started pouring it all over my pillow, and you gave me something to smell, and like those were things like really stuck in my brain.
amazing. And then when it was time to push, how did it go?
Oh, when it was time to push, it's like I almost don't even remember it, but I remember it. It's
Sure.
weird.
It's blurry,
Um, I was worried because they kinda came in, they were like, "Oh, his heart rate is dropping. We
right?
have to push now."
Yeah,
And I was like, I couldn't even panic, but that's when you came with the essential oils. That's when you were right before I pushed, that's when you sprinkled me with,
nice.
like, some sort of it was, like, citrusy. I remember it just
Yeah,
being
yeah.
a citrusy smell. You were on my left, like rubbing my back and like it's
Uh-huh,
okay, telling me how to breathe. And my child's father was on my right on FaceTime with like my
uh-huh,
mom because my mom
uh-huh.
does not care. She can't contact me. She's contacting anybody. She would have
Mhm.
found my doctor's personal phone if
Right.
if anything. Um, but yeah, I don't feel like I didn't push long. I didn't as soon as it was, like, active, I was, like, going for it, and you told me, "Don't hold back, just keep
Yep, yep,
going, going, going." You just kept I just remember just hearing push, 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 and I just did
yep,
it.
yep,
And
yep.
then he just in, like it was, like, 2 pushes, he was out. It wasn't long at all, and he was out, and he was healthy, and I really appreciated, they wrapped him up. They were gonna completely skip over skin to skin,
Mhm.
I noticed, and you just pulled my shirt down. You're like, you opened him up and you put him on me like, "No, get in there, mom." You're
Uh-huh.
like, "No, get in there. They're not gonna let you do this. They're not gonna do this for you." And you're just like, "Take off the rope. Come on, come on." Like, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But I was happy for that because I was so tired. I was too tired to even like
Yeah, yeah.
speak. So you're definitely a voice in the room for me. You're definitely there. Like even when we were waiting, we were just all sleeping and I'm on FaceTime. I'm up, but you were just there chilling, waiting with
Mhm,
me. Are you hungry? Are you this? Are you that? And I'm like, I'm good. Because I definitely snuck some M&Ms.
go ahead.
You
Which
didn't.
one? That's how
Just
I always am, like, eat anything.
yeah, yeah. You were like, go get her some chips. Go say it's for you. Just go get some chips. Get
Yeah.
her something to eat. And I was just like,
Mhm.
yeah. But it was definitely smoother because you were there. 'Cause I already know my child's father would have got on my nerves. I think I ignored him the whole time. I was just like, you're not helping right now. Just my mom is not helping right now." Like, and
Yeah,
you just have but you are, and, like, it was just great. Even it just didn't feel like the first day we met. It did
yeah.
not feel like we met 20 minutes ago.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
So, as great as doulas are, only about 5 to 10% of births have us. And sometimes it's a choice, sometimes it's not. But a lot of people just don't choose a doula. They don't understand, what or why they should have one. It's like, oh, I have my husband, partner, I have my mom, I have my aunt, I have my sister. So, what's your advice for folks who you can have a great mom and a great partner and a great all these things. You still could get a lot from having a doula. So what would you like to say? Like how can we convince folks who are like, I don't think that's me or it's not my
Uh,
thing.
I think for sure it's for everybody because as much as yes, your mom and your significant other and whoever you feel is a great support person, they don't know births like you guys do. They don't understand like wholeheartedly. Doesn't matter unless your mother was a doula. This it's
Right.
still doesn't matter how many kids she had.
Yeah.
she still doesn't understand the way you guys understand, and I
Mhm.
feel like having somebody that's objectively there, like somebody that knows you but doesn't know you to your core, that can't just be like, "Oh, she's fine, she's fine." Like, no, because a boyfriend or a mom may say you're a dramatic person. It's like, "Oh, she's just being dramatic."
Mhm.
But having an objective person that's like, yeah, cool, she's dramatic, but what if she's in actual pain, or what if
Mhm,
she's
mhm.
voicing her opinion right now? We don't care about your opinion, like, because they're gonna have opinions. Having a doula there is gonna definitely, they definitely help calm that situation down. Like, had to calm my mom down. Like, I'm good, mom.
Yeah.
Don't need you. My back is fine. No, I don't need any more pillows. Like, you know, it's great to have that other voice that's solely for you. I feel like you guys are here for mom and like here to be the voice of mom. And it's good to have like your voice because your doula knows your birth plan ahead of time. I mean, you didn't, but it worked out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It worked out. Oh, your doula has your birth plan and knows exactly what you want from the beginning because you built that relationship. And when you get there, everything goes out your brain,
Yeah.
leaves your body. It's not there anymore. And to have that voice, that point of view, your point of view come out is really helpful. It really is. It makes the whole situation just easier to go through, less traumatic.
And I think a lot of people have a stereotype of what a doula is, like the type of person she is. And like we come in all types of flavors, you know what I mean? So I think
Mhm.
like you said, like you felt comfortable with me. I had my hair in I had on the hair pond and things like that. Like you can find someone who you click with. I mean, when I was pregnant my first time, I met one, I did not like her, and I did not look anywhere else. And I just realized that was so naive of me to just discount the whole concept because I don't like her. Right?
You're like, you know what? If they're like this, I don't like this. Yeah.
You're like everything, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like people gotta find so I did not have one on my first birth, big mistake. And but then I found someone I clicked with on my second birth, and just people know like it's okay if you didn't click with that one or that one. Find one that you do, you know what I mean? Like we're all out here,
Mhm.
we're all different ethnicities and cultures and all the things,
Exactly. Yeah, that definitely helps. I feel like I definitely feel people do have a very one track mind when thinking of a doula. They think head wraps, pools, long
Yeah.
skirts,
Yeah,
incense,
the
and
long flower skirt, right?
yeah,
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 which is fine.
yeah. It's and that's fine too. But if
Yeah,
that's not your thing, that's not the only type of
yeah,
doula that's out there.
exactly.
Like not everybody's gonna come through and be oh, like, "Nope, we gotta turn the lights off. Where's the pool? Where's the" No,
Yeah,
it's not. It's definitely not like that. I think people need to understand, like, your doula's here to support you. And again, like, I feel like your doula's here to be your voice.
mm,
So get comfortable,
yeah,
say what you have to say, make sure your opinions are out way before that birth table because your opinions, you're gonna be thinking them, but you're gonna be way too tired to even
yeah,
say, "This is not what I want." Like, no. You're not even thinking about no when
mm,
you're there.
it's
You're
too
not.
hard, it's too hard. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much.
Anytime.
So nice
And
to s
thank you.
so nice to see you again.
Yes, it's so nice. I'm so happy I found you again on Instagram. I couldn't help myself. Like I found you that morning and like I was on
Oh,
the train on the
oh,
way to work
mhm.
and I slid in the DMs like, "Hey, I
Uh-huh.
don't know if you remember me, but and this is what my son looks like now."
I'm like, I think I know who that is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I remember all my births. Like, I think I do, but then again, once I forgot. But
Yeah. Yeah, but you feel like, you have a grasp on most of them, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I also like wanted to note that you're not only there for that one day. Like your
Oh,
doula is
yeah.
not there. You were not just only there for me one day and never heard from you again. Like you did follow up
Yeah.
and like the next day, I don't know if you remember, I was having trouble breastfeeding and I was bawling.
Oh,
And you came to the hospital and you helped me
wonderful.
again.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, thank you. You definitely had an impact on me and my doula experience for sure.
Amazing. And I'll see you again in a few years. So,
Yeah.
you have your next one.
Yes, I will definitely call you when I have my next one.
Have the next baby. Awesome.
I
Well,
will.
hug him for me. Give him a big kiss.
I will. He's not here right now, or else he'd definitely be
Okay.
like,
All right.
you would have saw him at least 5 times. He would have took over and tried to start like dancing for you or something. He's an entertainer.
Love it. Such a great
Yeah.
age. So cute. Have fun.
Yes, I definitely am. I am.
All right, hon. So stay
Okay.
on the line. I'm going to turn off the record. Okay.
Okay.
You hold on. Hold on. And then stop recording.